Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from Street Scores coming to y'all with a big update right before free agency starts to really kick off as of tomorrow, as in Monday. A lot of things to talk about. First of all, Scott Turner has been extended through 2024. Washington is one of 3 teams interested in safety Marcus Williams. It looks like we missed out on Zach Ertz, and also an update on who we may re-sign between Cam Sims, J.D. McKissic, Bobby McCain, and more. But before we dive into all of that, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get a notification immediately and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Like I said, man, I'm gonna keep y'all updated on everything going in free agency, every guy we sign, every guy we re-sign. I'm gonna have a live stream at the end of every game where there's any activity, and we're gonna review everything. And also be on the lookout for my Carson Wentz film session where I show y'all how he can take Scott Turner's offense to the next level. So be on the lookout for all kinds of content, especially within the next few days. I'm coming out with a mock draft soon after we do most of our free agency moves as well. I wanted to wait till we, got some things situated before I do a mock draft for us taking like a free safety in the second round, but now we got Marcus Williams, so there's no point. Just trying to speak it into existence. But without further ado, let's get it. Alright, starting with Scott Turner. It's been reported first by JP Finlay, the offensive coordinator. Scott Turner has reached an agreement with the Washington Commanders on a 3-year contract that runs through 2024. So it looks like he's here to stay. I mean, I don't know if they're working on Jack Del Rio next or anything, but it looks like Scott Turner will be the guy for the next 3 years. And so, of course, we got to take a look at some of the negatives, positives, and why this happened when it happened. Now, the obvious negatives, especially on the surface, if you don't really watch film, our offense has been lackluster. We've been scoring like under 20 points a game. And then there's been a lot of questionable calls, like why did you even design that? Little 8-yard losses on run plays because we got too cute in the backfield, all kinds of random stuff. Of course, I see that. And also, I mean, we're going to talk about J.D. McKissic later in the video. It looks like he's probably going to be gone, and our offense looked crazy, looked really bad when J.D. McKissic was hurt. And now if he's completely gone from the team, I don't know. I'm worried about that as far as Scott Turner goes. Even though at the same time J.D. McKissic was gone, we also didn't have our 2 tight end sets with Logan Thomas was hurt. There were a lot of injuries. The offensive line, I mean, we were down to the 5th string center, backup guards, backup tackles rotating in and out. So there were a lot of factors there as well. But I mean, it seemed like literally as soon as J.D. McKissic got hurt, our offense just plummeted to a new low, even worse than when Logan Thomas first got hurt. I also don't like the fact that we're so dependent on specific players. I mean, granted, that's a lot of offensive coordinators in general, but like when Logan Thomas was out, we couldn't score in the red zone, and when J.D. McKissic was out, it was hard for us to move the ball, just period. But now the positives for Scott Turner. And honestly, the best way to look at it is if you look at the all-22, you can see that he is drawing up plays to where if we had, say, any of these better quarterbacks like a Pat Mahomes, a Lamar Jackson, a Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, I mean, you could name like 10 guys that if they were running that play, the play would have worked. Probably would even resulted in a touchdown and definitely a lot more first downs. Taylor Heinicke was really fun, but he ranked like dead last, at least bottom half of the league in the majority of categories, especially things where like you isolate the quarterback from everything going on around him, from the weapons, from the play calling. If you look at like accuracy and things like that on target throws, Taylor Heinicke was like really bad actually. Again, he was fun. I don't want to knock him too much. I love him. I hope he stays on the team. Love him as a backup, but that's really about it. And I feel like once Scott Turner finally gets a good to great to hopefully elite quarterback, we'll finally start to see that he is smarter than a lot of people give him credit for. Inconsistent, yes, but also our roster's been inconsistent with a lot of injuries, a lot of moving pieces. And it looks like the one thing they want to make sure has some continuity is our coaching staff. And also, I mean, even just beyond quarterback alone, I mean, we could talk about that for hours and I can bring up all kinds of advanced statistics, but I'm just going to leave it at the fact that Taylor Heinicke was not doing a great job running that Scott Turner offense. I mean, just first of all, Taylor Heinicke doesn't have a strong arm, and Scott Turner's offense is predicated on attacking deep down the field. That's why it was so hard for us to run the ball, because they were stacking up a lot of defenders in the box, 7 or 8 guys, because they knew we didn't have a threat to throw it down the field. Terry McLaurin, De'Ami Brown would beat guys down the field, be open, and Taylor Heinicke would underthrow them or throw it late, and now they got to come back to the ball and it's incomplete, or it's a crazy contested catch, but it should have been a touchdown. And then on top of all of that, speaking of receiver, I mean, Terry McLaurin's your number 1 receiver, in my opinion, a top 10 receiver in the NFL. But after that, who did he have? I mean, DeAndre Carter, we didn't even think he was going to make the team through training camp, and he played well for a little while, but he shouldn't be your number 2 receiver. I still want to re-sign him back definitely as our return guy, as our franchise return guy for infinite years, but as your number 2 receiver, that's not good. And of course, Curtis Samuel was hurt this past year. Curtis Samuel wasn't here the year before that. De'Ami Brown, drafted him in the 3rd round, was hoping he can contribute everywhere, but all he's really good at right now is contested catches, kinda, and getting open deep down the field, kinda. But anything underneath, he wasn't really separating. I mean, Adam Humphries was like our go-to guy on 3rd downs. And when Logan Thomas was healthy, he was our go-to guy in the red zone. So Terry McLaurin just needs help, but even just beyond Terry McLaurin, Scott Turner needs help. He needs a better roster. I mean, we statistically, according to a lot of different statistics, metrics, and advanced statistics, has some of the worst quarterbacking since Scott Turner's been here. Of course, there's an argument to be made that some of that may be his fault, but I definitely think it's more on the quarterbacks than Scott Turner himself. The most important position in sports, we've been lacking in that category for a lot of years, and it's just hard to expect an offensive coordinator to be able to work around that. There's clearly some plays last year where it should have been a first down or a touchdown, and Taylor Heinicke just underthrew him, completely inaccurate, saw it late. I mean, just all kinds of problems. Again, I like Taylor Heinicke a lot, but he's not a franchise quarterback. And we love Taylor Heinicke for his mobility, but for some reason, Scott Turner didn't trust him to run read option, to run play action bootlegs. I mean, as soon as Taylor Heinicke got hurt and Kyle Allen came into the game, we finally started throwing deep shots like that one we threw to DeAndre Carter that he dropped. We started running more read option and more play action bootlegs. I don't know why Scott Turner didn't trust Taylor Heinicke with that, but if he gets a quarterback that he can trust to run all of that type of stuff, like a Carson Wentz, preferably like a Malik Willis, watch how productive our offense becomes. So we'll see what happens with this Carson Wentz situation. There's going to be any stability for the first time in Scott Turner's short offensive coordinator career. We'll see. And then most importantly for me is why now? Like, can we at least see what Carson Wentz looks like in Scott Turner's offense? And that just goes to show that they believe in the offensive coordinator more than they believe in the quarterback. They feel like Scott Turner may be indispensable compared to a Carson Wentz, where it's like, if we don't restructure his contract, he's basically on a 1-year rental and we can release him and take on no dick cap after this 2022 season. So when you have a franchise quarterback, you normally believe in the quarterback more than you believe in the offensive coordinator. You're normally going to take the side of the quarterback, but in our interesting situation, we believe in the coordinator and definitely not the quarterback yet. Even though I am optimistic about Carson Wentz, I think he's a clear upgrade over anything we've had here for years. But I mean, still, this is going to be a really interesting season, definitely a roller coaster ride. But again, why? Like, why now? Why extend him right before free agency? Like, what is that timing? He doesn't have anything to do with cap space or nothing. Do they feel like having an offensive coordinator set in stone, you know he's going to be here for the next 3 years, that will attract more top offensive talent maybe? Maybe top offensive free agents are more willing to go to a place where they know they're going to have some stability at the offensive coordinator position for the next couple of years. That's the only thing I can think of. Like, why right now? Why not wait till his contract ends? Or do they want to hurry up and do it before maybe Carson Wentz balls out? Just say Carson Wentz balls out. Now Scott Turner's demanding more money in contract negotiations. I mean, I'm just trying to think of any reason why on March 13th at 9 p.m. they decided to extend our offensive coordinator. Again, for the positives I've already given, I like the extension. I'm happy that we did it, but just why now? Only thing I can think of is that maybe they're trying to save some money before Carson Wentz goes out there and balls under Scott Turner's offense, and now there's buzz about him potentially getting a head coach job somewhere, and they want to go ahead and lock him in for the next 3 years before all of that stuff gets out of control. I mean, that's a good problem for us to have. If that problem happens, that means Carson Wentz balled out, and if Carson Wentz balls out, that means we definitely made it into the playoffs, maybe won a playoff game or two. Not necessarily saying we're going to the Super Bowl and winning one, but if Carson Wentz balls out to the point that Scott Turner would be getting head coach buzz around the NFL, the next Kyle Shanahan, the next Sean McVay, the next Kevin O'Connell, the next Matt LaFleur, if he starts being mentioned with those guys as the next head coach candidate, that means we're in the playoffs and we more than likely won the NFC East. Because Carson Wentz is easily our biggest X factor this season. We're going to go as far as Carson Wentz takes us. We're going to win 5 games because of Carson Wentz, or we're going to win 11 games because of Carson Wentz. It's literally that simple. Now moving on to the re-sign statuses for this team. First of all, Cam Sims is expected to be brought back. Whatever contract negotiations are going on there, they're expecting to bring back wide receiver Cam Sims. I'm assuming it's going to be for very cheap because I'm just assuming he doesn't have a large market out there, especially with how deep this receiver class is in the draft. There's no way Cam Sims is out here demanding a crazy amount of money. But sadly, it seems like the Washington Commanders are trending in the direction of letting J.D. McKissic go elsewhere in 2022, which makes me really sad. Nothing's finalized yet, but that definitely makes me sad to hear that J.D. McKissic may end up leaving us. I mean, maybe he's asking for a larger price than we're willing to give him, especially with him being fairly injury prone. But man, losing not only your top third down back, your top receiving back, but to me, the biggest impact that we're going to feel from him leaving, the biggest loss will be his pass protection. He's easily our best pass protecting back on third downs. That's why he's in the game on third downs most of the time over guys like Antonio Gibson or even Jared Patterson or anybody else in the running back group, because he's our best pass blocking back. He can actually pick up a blitzer really well. So losing him, we're going to feel that impact. When Carson Wentz is running for his life on third downs because Antonio Gibson missed a block, we're going to be like, oh man, I wish we had J.D. McKissic still. And like I said earlier with the whole Scott Turner thing, man, Scott Turner's offense without J.D. McKissic, it was a little ugly out there. I'm not going to lie. But again, there were a lot of factors in that. I mean, again, Taylor Heinicke was our quarterback. That was also the time period where we had to throw Kyle Allen out there and Garret Gilbert. There was a lot going on. But J.D. McKissic's loss definitely played a part in why our offense just got so dusty. But as far as Cam Sims goes, I mean, if you're going to bring him back, please use him. Every time we throw him out there, he's making plays. I think he had like 1 or 2 drops last year that kind of hurt us. But for the most part, he was making amazing catches. I would argue he had the best catch of the entire season from anybody on our team. It just seems like when you throw him out there, he makes plays. So don't bring him back and do all this contract negotiating just to use him very sparingly. Please use Cam Sims if you're going to bring him back. He deserves it. It's also been reported that Washington is letting safety Bobby McCain gauge his free agency market, but they're going to stay in contact with him. So if he goes out there, if doesn't find another team that's willing to give him whatever money he wants, then he's probably just going to end up coming back here later. I feel like there are quite a few guys that are just going to end up probably coming back later. Like I feel like Joey Slye, DeAndre Carter, and before this report, I was hoping J.D. McKissic should be re-signed immediately. Whereas guys like Cam Sims, maybe Adam Humphries, Cornelius Lucas, guys like that, Bobby McCain, Darryl Roberts, if we still have a hole there and they're not already on another team, we can sign them later on in free agency. But not like get them by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I can wait on Bobby McCain. I can wait till May or June. But we'll see how that goes. Next up, man, it looks like Zach Ertz is no longer an option. The Cardinals have finalized a 3-year deal with Zach Ertz. So it looks like he's going to stay there and be one of Kyler Murray's favorite targets. He actually started the ball out at times last season. And I really wanted him to come here to be Carson Wentz's safety blanket. I feel like they both bring the best out of each other, so I'm really sad to hear that. And of course, it kind of wasn't fair because it's not the legal tampering period yet, which is Monday. So we couldn't even talk to Zach Ertz to let him know what type of money we'd be willing to pay him. Cardinals had first dibs because he's already on the team. They offered him about, $10 million a year, which is something I was not willing to pay him. I wanted Zach Ertz, but I wasn't about to pay Zach Ertz $10 million a year. I'm not going to lie. But it's been reported that we were interested in Zach Ertz from several different sources. So since we missed out on Zach Ertz, maybe that's a clue that we will be interested in getting another guy in free agency. Hopefully we go after somebody like a OJ Howard who has a crazy infinite ceiling. Just never really worked out for the Buccaneers. He was supposed to be the next Gronk. It just never worked out. He kept getting hurt and wasn't really utilized much in the offense. I think we pick up OJ Howard. He reaches his potential. He literally has all pro talent. But who knows, maybe it's too late and he's already lost the confidence. I don't know, but I'd definitely take a flyer on OJ Howard, especially for cheap. And if we miss on any free agent tight ends, maybe we prioritize tight end in the draft. Maybe we pick one up within the first 4 rounds if they're really that interested in getting a tight end. And then lastly, Marcus Williams. It's been reported that the Jets, the Commanders, and the Lions are all interested in Marcus Williams and probably leading the market right now. So it's probably between us 3 fighting for him. And I've heard multiple reports for weeks, for months now that we're interested in Marcus Williams. But the reason this report is significant is because this is coming from Jordan Schultz, which is a more trustworthy source rather than just being a random source from like a random website or Twitter account. This is directly coming from Jordan Schultz. He says safeties Quandre Diggs and Tyrann Mathieu are both getting bags. So too will Saints free agent safety Marcus Williams, who I'm told could easily command in between 12 to 15 million per year, possibly 60 to 70 million over 5 years. Then he went on to say Jets, Commanders, and Lions, among others, are interested in trying to get him. And I just feel like if he specifically named those 3 teams, we're probably in the front. But again, we have the best defense out of those teams. We have his best opportunity of going to the playoffs and potentially winning the Super Bowl as of right now between all of those teams. So hopefully that gives us a slight edge. Marcus Williams is definitely one of my favorite free agent possibilities, man. Marcus Williams. I would like Tyrann Mathieu or Marcus Williams, but I prefer Marcus Williams. I would love Bobby Wagner, Jordan Hicks, the linebacker from Atlanta whose name I still can barely pronounce, AJ Johnson, one of those linebackers. If I had to do like a top 7 free agents that I really want, Marcus Williams is easily in that. Probably top 3, maybe even number 1, honestly. And remember, I like the fact that Washington today, Jordan tweeted this out, because I completely agree, and I've been saying this for weeks, that one very important thing to note for the people asking with what money, Washington doesn't need to have cap space immediately upon agreeing to a deal, just need to create it in the future. So if Washington wants a big name, they can go get one. And I've been saying that. I mean, honestly, first of all, cap space is a myth. You've seen the Saints were just in the negative like 50 million cap space after restructuring contracts, and I'm still pretty sure they're in the slight negative at the very least, even after restructuring Alvin Kamara and Cameron Jordan and a few other guys' contracts, and they're still in the running for getting Deshaun Watson, who's going to be another 40 million added into. So it's just like, at the end of the day, cap space is a myth if you want to make it a myth. If Ron Rivera really wants to go get some guys and really wants to be aggressive, we can figure out how to make more cap space and get these guys. And even on top of all of that, even if you don't have the cap space right now, if signing Marcus Williams were to take us over the cap space, put us in the negative, you can figure that out later. Until like the cap space is due, you can be all in the negative all you want. So if they really want Marcus Williams, they'll go get him. It's that plain and simple. If we don't blame cap space, don't blame none of that. Blame Rivera and his coaching staff or this front office if we don't end up getting those guys. But at the same time, we've been doing bargain deals and it's been working out really well with guys like J.D. McKissick, Logan Thomas, Cornelius Lucas, Wes Schweitzer. All of these guys that we've been getting for bargain deals have worked out really well for us. But I don't care. I want to go and get the top guys. I want Marcus Williams and Bobby Wagner. I don't care. Marcus Williams and Jordan Hicks. Marcus Williams and AJ Johnson. I don't care. Give me all of them. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Like I already said, be on the lookout for all of the content, all of the immediate updates and opinions on everything that goes down, especially tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Be on the lookout for all of the content and live streams. Like I said, if we sign a guy on Monday during the day, I'll do a live stream at night to review it. If we sign a guy on Tuesday, we'll do another live stream Tuesday night. So be on the lookout for all of that. And of course, I appreciate all the support, man. Shouts out to all of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors whose name you see scrolling on the screen right now. Again, I really appreciate y'all. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.